Hello and welcome back to another session of Brick Therapy. In this session, I'm going to build and review vintage LEGO Western Set 6769 Fort Legoredo. This set was re-released as Set 6762 as part of the Legends line. Fort Legoredo was released in 1996 for $84.99, then released 6 years later in 2002 for $99.99. A new 9796 is averaging about $1,217, while a new 9792 will run you about $936. For those prices, we get 668 pieces and 10 minifigs. I was lucky enough to have the boxes for both releases, so let's take a look at them. First, we have the original 6769. The front shows Fort Legoredo against a classic sunset background. We see the cavalry coming out of the side gate and chasing the bandits. At the top, we see the LEGO system logo, and on the right side, we see the Wild West and a gold star. The front of 6762 has the same image, but is framed in leather. Missing is the system logo and the Wild West. Instead, we get two images of the Colonel and the Western logo. There are no indications on the box of how many pieces are in this set. The inside lid of 6769 has images of the fort with some action scenes and a short narrative. The inside lid of 6762 has nothing. The back of the box for both sets has the same image, but laid out differently. For set 6762, the images are framed in leather. The sides of the two boxes have similar images, but in some cases, the images are mirrored. Enough about the boxes, let's get to the build. I'm going to take about 90 seconds to put the fort together, and I'll come back and give you my thoughts on this set. Okay, here it is. Vintage LEGO Western Set 6769 or 6762. What an awesome set. Let's start by looking at the minifigs that came with this set. Since this is a fort, we'll start with the cavalry, and leading the charge is a colonel. Colonel Jefferson to be exact, according to Wikipedia. We saw him before in this exact configuration in the Frontier Patrol. Next we have two cavalry lieutenants. They are both identical except for one has a white scarf and the other one does not. This set comes with 3 cavalry soldiers that are identical except for 2 have scarves and the third does not. Then there is Zach, or Deputy Danny. We have seen him a couple times now in the exact configuration. Now we come to the bandits. They are all identical to the ones we've seen in previous sets, starting with Black Bart in his black suit and bandana. Then there's the notorious Flatfoot Thompson with his missing teeth. And finally, Dewey Cheatham, the card hustler with his top hat. The fort comes with a single horse-drawn limber with a cannon, as well as 2 horses for the cavalry or bandits to ride. Now let's look at the fort. The fort is built on 4 16x32 tan base plates. In the recommended configuration, the base plates form a square allowing an open court area in the center. Let's start with the main entrance. Out front, we see the name of the fort above the gate. On either side of the gate is a red parrot statue. We also have 2 bushes and 2 large barrels. Above the name of the fort is the cavalry flag with the cross sabers. On either side of the flag are 2 watchtowers with red roofs and bull horns. Let's look at them from the inside. Each one has space for 1 minifigure to stand watch. The top floor can be accessed by inverting the ladders. Speaking of ladders, this section has one for each tower. It allows the minifigures to access the wall walk on either side. We also see the gate bar that prevents it from being opened. Now let's look at the next section that houses the second entrance to the fort. Flanking the gates are a pair of red pears also. At the side of the gate we have a gray rock piece incorporated into the wall. At the foot of the rock is a bush with a hidden treasure underneath it, a space for gold coins. Above the rock is a single watchtower for this section of the wall. If we look at this section from the inside of the fort, we see a ladder to allow minifigs access to the wall walk. If we raise the ladder and invert it, the minifigs can use it to access the top of the watchtower. Looking back at the gate, we see a 1x10 plate with hinge plates used as a door bar to lock it from being opened. The next section of the fort we will look at is the plainest side. This section of the wall has 3 openings on the ground floor to allow soldiers to stand watch or shoot out of. Just outside of the wall are 2 bushes. There's 1 ladder to allow access to the wall walk, and that's it for this section. Now let's look at the last and most feature-packed section of the fort. This back section houses the headquarters. From the inside, we see a smaller gate under the headquarters, allowing minifigs on foot or walking their horse to exit into a sally port. To the right, we have a large holding cell that can house multiple minifigs. To the left, we have stairs leading to a wall walk and entrance to the headquarters. Once inside, we see the headquarters is open in back for a dollhouse open play field. There are 2 chairs on either side of the table. The table is the control for a really cool play feature. Rotating the table clockwise drops the minifig sitting at the chair closest to the door out of the fort into the sally port. Rotating the table counterclockwise drops the minifig sitting closest to the fireplace into the holding cell. Only 1 chair can be dropped at a time. Speaking of the fireplace, it can be pulled out to reveal a hidden area with 2 gold coins. Looks like our colonel is on the take. This section of the headquarters is built into the side of a large rock. From the outside, we get a better view of the sally port. To the left are bars for the holding cell. On the right side of this back section, there is a box similar to the one we saw in the bandit's secret hideout that houses a rifle. The 4 sections can be arranged in multiple configurations, but the instructions have us set the fort up in a square. We have 1x2 brown palisade bricks that attach the sections together. The inner courtyard is not quite a 32x32 space where we can just drop in a base plate. It can be done, but it would require some modification. So here it is, Fort Legoredo, set 6769 or 6762. I was already an adult in my dark ages when this theme was released, but I remember seeing this fort and wanting to buy a few. Too bad I was spending my money on girls during that time. There's so many ways to upgrade and expand this fort, but it's also great just the way it is. My plan is to upgrade and mock Fort Legoredo, so it looks more like a standalone fort that houses soldiers instead of a prison. Stay tuned for that in the near future. I hope you enjoyed my build and review of vintage Lego Western set 6769 or 6762 Fort Legoredo. I'm so glad I finally got to build this set. Join me on another session of Brick Therapy soon. Take care.